You know, the late great Roddy McDowall had a big connection to science fiction in the 1960s and 70s. His appearance on Twilight Zone, Planet of the Apes, and Night Gallery. But this appearance again on TZ probably stands out for a lot of people because it was pretty well the most, not say shocking, but the most deliberately skewed towards reality that the show had done. What if people on other planets saw us as inferior beings and would want to put us in a cage? Now, people are like all over. It's episode 25 of TZ came out in the second half of the very long first season, March 25th, 1960. Now, according to Rod's opening narration, you're looking at a species of flimsy little two-legged animal with extremely small heads whose name is man. Warren Mackinson, age 35, Samuel A. Conrad, age 31. They're taking a highway into space, man unshackling himself and sending his tiny groping fingers up into the unknown. Their destination is Mars, and in just a moment we'll land there with them. Now, two astronauts discuss an impending mission to Mars. One of them, Markison, is a positive thinker who believes that people are alike all over, even on the red planet. The other astronaut, Conrad, has a more cynical view of human interplanetary nature. After the rocket lands on Mars, the impact is so severe that Markison is critically injured. Knowing that he's dying, Markison pleads with Conrad to open the door of the ship so he can at least see that for which he has given his life. Conrad refuses, still fearful of what may await outside, and Markison unfortunately dies. Now alone, Conrad hears a rhythmic sound reverberating upon the ship's hull. Expecting some unnamed alien evil, his apprehension turns to joy when he opens the hatch and sees Martians that indeed appear to be human, have mind-reading abilities, and give the impression of being the most amicable, especially the beautiful Tina, who welcomes and reassures him. The hospitable locals lead their honored guests to his residence, an interior living space furnished precisely in the same manner as one on Earth. Specifically, a living space in middle-class America would have been. The locals leave, and Conrad asks if he will see Tina again. She doesn't respond, but another local assures Conrad he will see her again. Now, when Conrad relaxes, he soon discovers that his room is windowless and the doors cannot be opened. One of the walls eventually slides apart, and Conrad realizes it's become a cage exhibit in a Martian alien zoo. Conrad eventually picks up a sign saying Earth creature in his native habitat and throws it on the floor as Tina leaves distraught. In the episode's closing lines, Conrad grips the bars and proclaims, Moccasin, you are right. You are right. People are alike. People are alike everywhere. Now, closing narration. Species of animal brought back alive. Interesting similarity in physical characteristics. The human beings in head, trunk, arms, legs, hands, feet. Very tiny undeveloped brain. Comes from primitive planet named Earth. Calls himself Samuel Conrad. And he will remain there in his cage with the running water and the electricity and the central heat as long as he lives. Samuel Conrad has found the Twilight Zone. Now, why this episode is so effective? Because Roddy McDowall, in all facets here, is a very, not say completely trusting, but he's very apprehensive, but he kind of says, well, they look like me, so they're going to treat me like it would treat them in response. Now, the episode was based, of course, on the famous Paul W. Fairman's novella Brothers Beyond the Void, published in the March 52 issue of Fantastic Adventures, and also included in August's Derlert's 1953 anthology collection, Worlds of Tomorrow. In this renowned short story, Sam Conrad remains on Earth as a lone pilot, Markson, who has the too close encounter with smaller, more alien Martians. In adapting the tale, Serling made key changes that would deepen the irony and heighten the impact. He installed the apprehensive, defeatist Conrad as the protagonist, easing his fears, only to have them ultimately confirmed. And he presented the Martians as a human-like superior race whose apparent benevolence would make their climactic treachery seem even more shocking, as well as decrease the budget that would have been expended on costumes and makeup. Now, the Martian actually exteriors are taken from the oversized painted background dioramas seen in the 56 MGM film Forbidden Planet. Additionally, a set of 4 lights on the wall of the inside the spaceship are reuses of the crowd power gauges from the same film. Also, the set for Conrad's home is the I Dream of Jeannie's house. Markson is portrayed by Paul Comey, a frequent guest star in TV shows of the 60s and 70s, including Star Trek. His other TV work was in the second season, The Odyssey of Flight 33, where he played the co-pilot, and the fourth season's one-hour ep, The Parallel. Now, actor Byron Morrow twice appeared as an admiral on Star Trek. Actor Vic Perrin was later control voice in The Outer Limits, and like Oliver, Morrow, and Comey, would also become another veteran of Star Trek. Now, according to writer Kat Yampel, comparing the show to other science fiction stories such as Planet of the Apes, starring Roddy McDowall, and Slaughterhouse-5, wrote, alien caging of humans provides commentary on a barbarity of the practice of turning sentient beings into public spectacles. Now, the original pilot of Star Trek, The Cage, later reworked in a two-part episode of Menagerie, included plot points similar to that touched upon in this episode, particularly the aspect of humans being put on display. Coincidentally, that pilot also co-starred the beautiful Susan Oliver in a similar role. Now, in the pilot, she played Vina. A female has a task of making the captive feel more at ease. The Star Trek animated episode Eye of the Beholder would also feature some of the crew of the USS Enterprise being placed in a zoo by the inhabitants of Lactra 7. Now, the band Space Monkey Death Sequence released their similarly titled debut album, People Are Like All Over, containing many samples from the episodes, citing the installment as the influence for the album. Now, the second episode of the TV series The Orville, which is titled Command Performance, revolves around the two main characters, Captain Mercer and Commander Grayson, being placed in a zoo with other captured alien species. Now, the idea of the Martians, there was a lot of people who believed that Martians were real back in the day, especially in the 50s and 60s. But it kind of threw it out the window because would the Martians look exactly like humans? Maybe not. But the idea, they almost acted like sort of like a fraternity of assholes, because there had to be more than one Martian, played by Susan Oliver, that was having guilt about what was going on. Everybody else was happy. It didn't make any sense. If there was two or three or four people, like a bunch of protesters saying, I know what you're going to do with them. You're gonna put them on display and all that. But suspension of disbelief. He had just arrived on the planet. Roddy McDowall's best friend just died, fictional best friend, and he's trying to figure out his path. And he thinks he's basically going to be murdered or eaten alive or what's going on. And here they're benevolent and said, we hope you're comfortable, and we don't know if we can get you back, but for now you're going to stay in this place, an up end, home. But Roddy McDowall, like I said, wasn't fully the Roddy McDowall of Planet of the Apes in this episode. He was still gaining his sci-fi knowledge because Cleopatra was a little bit down the road, and he's Columbo's and in the 70s and his Night Gallery, because he peaked as an actor in the Night Gallery pilot movie. A lot of people know that. So Roddy McDowall, 4-star performance. Episode not 4 stars, maybe 2.5, 3 out of 4, because other than Susan Oliver, the other Martians basically are just one note. There's not really memorable. It's Susan Oliver gives it away. You know what's going to happen. And see, that's the thing with the Twilight Zone, right? You know what's going to happen before it's going to happen, because that's the thing. Rod wanted you to guess, and then, okay, when are they going to find out? And then, a lot can be packed in 30 minutes. Rod would put a lot in there. So ladies and gentlemen, that's a key episode of the first season of Star Trek. That's Star Trek Twilight Zone. Sorry, Freudian slip. If you like what you're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. We are nearing 2,000 subscribers. If you want to be the potential of that 2,000 subscriber, please subscribe if you haven't done already, or tell your family, tell your friends. And if you continue to like the Twilight Zone episodes we're doing, let us know, because we're into a revival of Twilight Zone in Canada, because the episodes unedited from the original Twilight Zone are being shown late night on City TV on the weekends. In the case of the Saturday, Sunday episodes, because they're being shown after the Montreal Canadian game on City, or Hockey Night in Canada. So keep an eye in the skies. Thanks for listening. Bye.